People think I left MASH because of contracts or money. But the truth is much darker. There was a night on set when something terrifying happened, something so disturbing. I still wake up thinking about it at 87 years old. I never said a word. Until now. What I'm about to reveal could completely change the way you see the show forever. It wasn't fame. It wasn't money. It was something much deeper. When the cameras stopped rolling and the laughter faded, people believed my life was perfect. They said I was living every actor's dream, starring in one of the most iconic shows in television history, MASH to the world. I was successful, adored, and living a life most actors could only imagine. But what people saw on screen was only half the story. The polished half. Because the truth is, fame doesn't protect you from pain, and success doesn't fill the empty spaces inside your heart. You can make millions laugh every night and still go home feeling broken. You can win awards and still lose yourself in the process. For decades, fans ask me the same question again and again. Why did you leave MASH when you were at the peak of your career? Every time, I gave the same smile. Every time. I changed the subject. Every time. I hid behind a practiced answer that felt safer than the truth. Because the real answer wasn't easy to say out loud. Not then. Not now. Not even at 87. You see, time does something to you. It softens the bitterness. It erases the fear of being judged. It removes pride, ego, and the need to protect yourself from the world. In the end, time leaves you with one thing: truth, raw, painful truth. And today, after carrying this weight for a lifetime, I'm finally ready to tell you what truly happened. Not the rumors, not the stories written in magazines, not the theories fans created. My truth. The truth I never had the courage to reveal, because my story isn't just about leaving a television show. It's about the cost of success. It's about emotional pressure, silent exhaustion, the loneliness behind the jokes, and a moment of heartbreak that almost broke me completely. People think actors are strong because they're always smiling on screen. But sometimes, the strongest people are the ones who hide their pain the best. I was one of them. I hid it so well that even the people closest to me didn't see the cracks forming. What no one knew was that behind the scenes, I was drowning. I was struggling with long hours, overwhelming expectations, and the pressure to be perfect. Every day, I gave everything I had. And every night, I went home feeling empty, drained, and strangely invisible. There was one moment, one specific day, that changed everything. A moment I've never spoken about publicly. A moment so heavy, so emotionally devastating, that it forced me to walk away from the show I loved, from the people who became my family, and from the audience that adored me. I didn't walk away because of contracts. I didn't walk away because of money. I didn't walk away because I wanted something bigger. I walked away because I reached a point where staying would have destroyed me. And now, at 87, I'm finally ready to bring that moment into the light. This is a story about pressure, exhaustion, heartbreak, and the truth the world never knew. Are you ready to hear what really happened? People saw the jokes. People saw the chemistry. They saw the laughter, the quick wit, the perfect timing that made MASH feel alive. But what they didn't see, what they couldn't see, was what was happening inside me. Behind the scenes, my reality looked nothing like the world the audience adored. On the outside, I was the funny one, the reliable one, the one who always delivered. But on the inside, something was breaking slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. I was exhausted, far beyond what my smile showed. Physically exhausted from the never-ending shoots, emotionally exhausted from the pressure to stay funny even when my heart felt heavy. People think acting is glamorous, but MASH wasn't just a show. It was a machine, and every day I felt like Another cog turning inside. If the schedule was brutal, long nights blurred into early mornings. Endless rewrites meant scenes could change seconds before. Shooting. Directors wanted sharper delivery. Writers wanted fresher energy. The audience wanted more laughs. Always more. But the real struggle wasn't the workload. No. What truly ate at me was something far more isolating. The loneliness. It sounds strange feeling alone while surrounded by people. Cameras, laughter, and noise. But sometimes, loneliness hits hardest in a crowded room. Hollywood has a way of draining your soul quietly. Slowly, without leaving visible scars. Everyone sees you, but no one really knows you. There were moments when I'd finish a scene full of energy and charm, walk off set, and feel an emptiness settle over me like a heavy blanket. Moments when I smiled at the crew but felt disconnected from everything around. Moments when the applause inside my head faded, and all that was left was silence. And then there was that night, the night I'll never forget. We had just filmed a long, emotionally draining scene. I gave everything I had, every ounce of energy, every bit of expression I could find. When they called cut, everyone clapped. But inside, something collapsed. I walked back to my trailer, closed the door, and suddenly, I couldn't breathe. My hands were trembling uncontrollably. My chest tightened. I sat down, hoping it would pass, but the shaking only got worse. There was a voice inside me, quiet, but piercing. A voice I had been trying to ignore for months. A voice that whispered, "You're losing yourself." Losing myself to the pressure. Losing myself to the expectations. Losing myself to a role that demanded everything and left nothing in return. I told myself it was just fatigue, just stress, just part of the job. So I pushed it away. I buried it. I pretended it didn't happen. But the truth is, you can only ignore your own breaking point for so long. And eventually, ignoring it became impossible. That night was the beginning of the end. The moment when I realized something inside me was slipping, and if I didn't listen soon, I might lose myself completely. It happened on a random Tuesday, a day that was supposed to be like any other. Nothing special, nothing dramatic. Just another day on the set of MASH. We were shooting a scene I had done countless times before. The kind of scene where the lines come naturally, where the rhythm feels effortless, where the laughter flows without trying. But that day, something shifted. Right in the middle of a line I had repeated 1,000 times. I froze. Not for a second, not for a breath, but in a way that felt like the entire world had stopped around me. The lights suddenly felt brighter. The noise seemed sharper. The cameras, normally part of the routine, felt like giant eyes staring straight into my soul. I could feel the pressure in the air. Heavy, suffocating, crushing. My chest tightened, squeezing in a way I had never felt before. My hands went cold, almost numb. And no matter how hard I tried to take a breath, I couldn't. People around me thought I forgot my lines. They laughed. They joked. Someone even said, "Long night?" Trying to lighten the moment. But I wasn't forgetting anything. Wasn't tired. I wasn't distracted. I was having a panic attack, my very first one. And it hit me like a punch to the chest. My vision blurred. My heart raced. I felt like I was standing on a stage and drowning at the same time. I stepped away slowly, trying to look casual, forcing a smile that didn't belong on my face. Inside, I was falling apart. I walked off the set, praying no one would see the tears forming in my eyes. A cast member followed me, a friend, someone who knew me well. He looked concerned and asked softly, "You okay?" I nodded. I forced another smile, and I lied, because how could I tell him what was really happening? How could I admit that the show that made me loved by millions, the show that defined my career, the show people called a blessing, was also destroying me from the inside? How do you tell someone that the place where you shine the brightest is also the place where you're slowly burning out? I sat alone for a few minutes, trying to steady my breathing, trying to stop the trembling in my hands, but the truth wouldn't leave me. It was echoing inside my mind. Louder and louder. You can't keep going like this. That moment never left me. It stayed with me. Like a shadow, I couldn't escape. Every day after that felt heavier. Every scene felt like walking on thin ice. Every smile felt a little more forced. For the first time in my life, I realized something terrifying. If I didn't walk away soon, I wouldn't just lose my career. I wouldn't just lose my passion. Would lose myself. Completely. That Tuesday wasn't just a bad day. It was the warning sign. I could no longer ignore the moment that changed everything. The moment that marked the beginning of the end of my time on MASH. People still believe the rumors. Some say I left because of money, that I demanded more. Others say it was ego, that I wanted more screen time, more attention, more control. And then there are those who swear I walked away because I wanted bigger Hollywood roles. They were all wrong. Every single one of them. The truth was simple and painfully human. I left because I wanted to live. To survive. To breathe again. To stop waking up every morning feeling like I was fighting a war no one else could see. MASH was taking everything from me, piece by piece. My health. My peace. My confidence. My sense of self. Saw the jokes. They saw the laughter. Saw the energy. What they didn't see were the silent battles happening behind the scenes. Every smile I gave on screen was hiding 100 unseen struggles. Every performance was held together by sheer willpower. And every day I felt myself slipping further away from the person I used to be. Then came the night that changed everything. The night before I told the producers I was leaving. I sat alone in my living room. It was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that forces you to confront the truth you've been avoiding. The script lay in front of me. A script that once brought me joy, excitement, purpose. But that night, it felt different. I picked it up. I held it. And instead of feeling inspired, I felt something I had never felt before. HEAVINESS. Sadness. A strange, undeniable sense of goodbye. The words on the page blurred, not because I couldn't read them, but because they no longer belonged to me. I realized something heartbreaking. I didn't recognize the person who was supposed to bring those lines to life. Somewhere between the long hours, the pressure, and the panic, I had lost myself. And so, I made the hardest decision of my life that night. I chose freedom over fame. Silence over applause. Peace over pressure. Life over legacy. Not many people understand what that means, to walk away from something millions adored you for. To give up the spotlight when the world keeps telling you to stay in it. But I knew if I didn't choose myself that night, there might not be anything left to save. The next morning, I walked into the meeting with the producers. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. But for the first time in a long time, my mind was clear. When I told them I was leaving, the room went silent. Not angry. Not confused. Just stunned. They didn't understand. Maybe they couldn't. Maybe they never will. But I did what I had to do. Because staying would have turned me into a ghost. A shadow of the person I once was. Fading a little more every day. Walking away wasn't the end. It was the beginning of learning how to live again. Many years have passed since then. Decades filled with questions, rumors, whispers, and assumptions. People created their own versions of my story. Their own explanations. Their own truths. Some were harmless. Some were cruel. Some were so far from reality that I barely recognized the person they were talking about. But time has a way of softening the noise, and now, at 87, with most of my life behind me, I've learned something deeply important. Something I wish I'd understood much earlier. Walking away from something loved by millions doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you human. Because sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do in your life is step away from a life everyone else wants for you and choose the life you desperately need for yourself. Back then, people judged me without knowing the real story. But today, when I look back at MASH, I don't feel anger, I don't feel regret, I don't feel bitterness. I feel love, deep, genuine love. MASH gave me memories I still treasure. It gave me friendships that shaped my life. It gave me moments of laughter, moments of magic, and a legacy that still follows me decades later. I'm grateful for all of it. But leaving saved my life. It allowed me to breathe again, to think again, to feel again, to grow in ways I never could have grown if I had stayed trapped inside the pressure, the expectations, and the fear. Walking away gave me my peace back, and peace, I've learned, is one of the rarest gifts life can offer. So if you're watching this right now, if you feel trapped by expectations, if you feel crushed under pressure, if you feel like you're living a life that looks perfect to everyone else, but feels heavy to you, listen to me carefully. You are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to start over. You are allowed to walk away. Even if the world doesn't understand your decision, even if people question you, even if they judge you, they don't live your life. They don't feel your pain. They don't carry your burdens. Only you do. And your happiness, your health, your peace, they matter more than applause, more than fame, more than expectations. My truth is painful. It took me years to speak it out loud. But the moment I did, I felt something shift inside me. I felt lighter. Freer. Human again. And maybe, just maybe, sharing this truth will help someone else find the courage to accept their own. To listen to that quiet voice inside that whispers, you deserve more. To take the step they've been afraid to take. If my story helps even one person choose themselves, then the pain I carried all those years wasn't for nothing.